Your parents failed you by trying to protect you from every possible discomfort, and now you're paying the price as an adult who can't handle basic life challenges. They gave you participation trophies when you should have learned how to lose with dignity. They solved your problems when you should have learned how to solve them yourself. They shielded you from criticism when you should have learned how to improve from feedback. It made your life so comfortable that you never developed the mental muscles necessary to handle real adversity. Now you're an adult who expects life to be fair, who believes effort should always be rewarded, and who thinks your feelings should determine your actions. The harsh reality is that the world doesn't care about your comfort, your feelings, or your excuses. It only rewards results, and results come from people who are mentally tough enough to do what needs to be done regardless of how they feel about it. Your softness isn't protecting you, it's limiting you. Right now, at this very moment. Millions of people are choosing the easy path. They're hitting the snooze button instead of getting up early. They're avoiding difficult conversations. They're making excuses instead of taking action. They're living in a bubble of comfort that's slowly but surely destroying their potential for greatness. And maybe, just maybe, you're one of them. Look around you. Notice how many people complain about their circumstances but do nothing to change them. Watch how they react when faced with the smallest challenge or inconvenience. See how they crumble under pressure that would have been considered normal just a generation ago. We live in an age of unprecedented comfort, yet we have created a generation of people who are mentally and emotionally weaker than ever before. The statistics are staggering. More people today suffer from anxiety, depression, and stress disorders than at any point in human history. Not because life is harder now, but because we've become softer. We've lost our ability to handle discomfort, to push through obstacles, to persevere when things get tough. Your ancestors fought wars, survived famines, built civilizations with their bare hands. They didn't have the luxury of giving up when things got difficult. They didn't have safe spaces or participation trophies. They had to be tough because survival depended on it. And because they were tough, they created the comfortable world you live in today. But here's the problem with comfort. It makes you weak. When you never have to struggle, you never develop the muscles of resilience. When you never face adversity, you never learn how to overcome it. When you're always protected from failure, you never build the confidence that comes from getting back up after you've been knocked down. Think about the most successful people you know. I'm not talking about people who inherited their wealth or got lucky. I'm talking about people who built something from nothing, who created value in the world, who made a real difference. What do they all have in common? They all went through hell to get where they are. They all faced rejection, failure, criticism, and setbacks. But instead of letting these experiences break them, they used them as fuel to become stronger. There's a young man named Marcus who came to one of my seminars 3 years ago. He was 25 years old, living in his parents' basement, working part-time at a coffee shop and spending most of his day playing video games. He had a college degree but claimed he couldn't find a good job. He was soft, and he knew it. He was comfortable being uncomfortable with his life because even that discomfort was easier than the discomfort of change. Marcus told me his story during a break. He said he felt stuck, that life was unfair, that he deserved better. I asked him one simple question. What are you willing to do that you're not doing now? He couldn't answer. He wanted his life to change, but he wasn't willing to change anything about himself. Fast forward to today. Marcus owns 2 successful businesses, is married to a wonderful woman, and has more confidence and energy than he ever thought possible. What changed? He decided to stop being soft. He decided to embrace discomfort instead of avoiding it. He decided to do the things that scared him instead of running from them. The difference between Marcus 3 years ago and Marcus today is the difference between soft and hard, between weak and strong, between victim and victor. Now, I need you to be honest with yourself. When was the last time you did something that truly challenged you? When was the last time you pushed yourself beyond your comfort zone? When was the last time you did something you didn't want to do because you knew it would make you stronger, if you can't remember? Or if it's been months or years, then you've been living soft. And living soft is not really living at all. It's existing. It's surviving. It's settling for a fraction of what you're capable of achieving. The truth is, you have incredible potential inside you. You have talents, abilities, and possibilities that you haven't even begun to tap into. But they're buried under layers of comfort, excuses, and fear. They're trapped behind the walls of your comfort zone, waiting for you to develop the courage to break them down. Every day you choose comfort over growth. You're choosing to stay small. Every time you avoid a difficult conversation, you're choosing weakness over strength. Every time you make an excuse instead of taking action, you're choosing to remain exactly where you are. But here's the good news. You can change this pattern starting right now. You can choose to stop being soft and start getting hard. You can choose to embrace discomfort as your friend instead of treating it as your enemy. You can choose to see challenges as opportunities to grow stronger instead of obstacles to avoid. The question is, are you ready to make that choice? Are you ready to leave your comfort zone and start building the mental toughness that will transform your life? Are you ready to stop making excuses and start taking action? Because if you are, then everything changes from this moment forward. Your entire life can shift from ordinary to extraordinary, from mediocre to magnificent, from soft to strong. But it starts with a decision. It starts with you saying, enough is enough. I'm done being soft. I'm ready to harden up. The journey ahead won't be easy. It will require you to do things you don't want to do, to face fears you've been avoiding, to push through discomfort you've been running from. But on the other side of that discomfort lies everything you've ever wanted: confidence, success, respect, fulfillment, and the unshakable knowledge that you can handle whatever life throws at you. The choice is yours. You can stay soft and remain where you are, or you can harden up and become who you were meant to be. Now that you understand the problem, let me show you exactly what happens inside your brain when you choose comfort over challenge. This isn't just motivational talk. This is hard science that will change how you think about difficulty forever. Your brain has two primary systems fighting for control every single day. The first is your primitive brain, also called the reptilian brain. This system is designed for one thing: keeping you alive. It sees any form of discomfort, challenge, or change as a potential threat to your survival. When you think about doing something difficult, this part of your brain immediately sends alarm signals. It floods your body with stress hormones and creates every excuse possible to keep you safe in your comfort zone. The second system is your prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain. This is where logic, planning, and growth happen. This part of your brain knows that challenge leads to strength, that discomfort leads to growth, that temporary pain leads to permanent gain. But here's the problem. The primitive brain is much louder and more immediate than the thinking brain. When you consistently choose comfort over challenge, you're literally rewiring your brain for weakness. Every time you avoid a difficult conversation, your neural pathways become more efficient at avoidance. Every time you quit when things get hard, your brain becomes better at quitting. Every time you make an excuse instead of taking action, your excuse-making neural networks become stronger. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change and adapt based on your repeated behaviors. The incredible news is that this process works both ways. When you consistently choose challenge over comfort, you rewire your brain for strength. When you push through discomfort regularly, your brain becomes more efficient at handling stress. When you take action despite fear, your courage neural pathways become stronger. Dr. Martin Seligman's research at the University of Pennsylvania proved that mental toughness can be learned and developed. His studies showed that people who regularly expose themselves to controlled stress and challenge develop what he calls learned optimism, the ability to bounce back from setbacks faster and stronger than before. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you avoid challenges, your brain doesn't just stay the same, it actually becomes weaker. Use it or lose it applies to mental strength just like physical strength. If you don't regularly challenge your muscles, they atrophy. If you don't regularly challenge your mind, it becomes soft and weak. The military has known this for centuries. They don't make soldiers tough by keeping them comfortable. They create controlled stress situations that force growth. They understand that the only way to build mental toughness is through progressive challenge. They start with small discomforts and gradually increase the difficulty until handling extreme pressure becomes second nature. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that people who regularly engage in challenging activities have higher levels of BDNF, brain design neurotrophic factor. This protein literally grows new brain cells and strengthens existing neural connections. In simple terms, challenge makes your brain physically stronger and more capable. There's also fascinating research on what scientists call stress inoculation. When you expose yourself to small amounts of stress regularly, you build immunity to larger stresses. It's like getting a vaccine against weakness. Each small challenge you overcome makes you more resilient to bigger challenges in the future. Think about how your body responds to exercise. When you lift weights, you're actually creating tiny tears in your muscle fibers. Your body responds by rebuilding those fibers stronger than before. Mental toughness works exactly the same way. When you push through mental discomfort, you're creating tiny tears in your comfort zone. Your mind responds by rebuilding itself stronger and more resilient. The key insight here is that discomfort is not your enemy, it's your trainer. Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to become stronger. Every challenge is a chance to upgrade your mental operating system. Every difficult situation is a gift that allows you to practice and improve your resilience. But here's what most people get wrong. They think mental toughness means you don't feel fear, anxiety, or discomfort. That's not true. Mentally tough people feel all the same emotions as everyone else. The difference is they don't let those emotions control their actions. They feel the fear and do it anyway. They experience the discomfort and push through it anyway. This is what psychologists call distress tolerance, the ability to handle uncomfortable emotions without immediately trying to escape them. People with high distress tolerance are more successful in every area of life because they can stick with difficult tasks longer than others. The bottom line is this: your brain is designed to adapt to whatever you consistently do. If you consistently choose comfort, your brain becomes efficient at seeking comfort. If you consistently choose challenge, your brain becomes efficient at handling challenge. The choice is always yours. But the consequences are always real. Your brain is not fixed. Your mental toughness is not predetermined. You have the power to rewire your neural pathway starting today. But it requires you to understand that every small challenge you face is actually an investment in your future strength. Every moment of discomfort you push through is making you more capable of handling whatever life throws at you next, now that you understand the science. It's time to get brutally honest with yourself. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot strengthen what you pretend is already strong. Most people live their entire lives avoiding this uncomfortable truth. They have soft spots that are sabotaging their success. Let me ask you some direct questions, and I want you to answer them honestly. When someone criticizes your work, do you immediately get defensive or do you listen and learn? When you face a setback, do you analyze what went wrong or do you blame circumstances beyond your control? When you need to have a difficult conversation, do you address it head on or do you avoid it until it becomes a bigger problem? Your answers reveal everything about your current level of mental toughness. The first area where most people are soft is in their relationship with feedback. Soft people treat criticism as an attack on their character. They get emotional, defensive, and angry when someone points out their mistakes. Hard people treat criticism as valuable information. They understand that feedback is the breakfast of champions. Even when it tastes bitter going down. I know a successful entrepreneur named Jennifer who built a $1 million company, but she almost lost it all because she couldn't handle feedback every time her employees suggested improvements. She took it personally. Every time customers complained, she became defensive. Her softness around feedback was costing her money, relationships, and growth opportunities. When she finally learned to welcome criticism instead of fighting it, her business doubled in size within 2 years. The second soft spot is procrastination. Soft people put off difficult tasks and tell themselves they'll do it later. They wait for motivation, for perfect conditions, for the right moment. Hard people understand that motivation is unreliable and discipline is everything. They do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not. Look at your to-do list right now. What tasks have been sitting there for weeks or months? What important conversations have you been avoiding? What projects have you started but never finished? These are your procrastination soft spots, and they're costing you more than you realize. The third area is your relationship with discomfort. Soft people avoid anything that makes them uncomfortable. They choose the easy path, the familiar route, the safe option. Hard people actively seek discomfort because they know it leads to growth. They understand that if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Pay attention to your daily choices. Do you take the elevator or the stairs? Do you eat the healthy food or the junk food? Do you watch TV or read books? Do you gossip or have meaningful conversations? These small choices reveal whether you're choosing comfort or growth. The fourth soft spot is excuse making. Soft people have an excuse for everything. They blame their circumstances, their upbringing, their boss, their lack of time, their lack of money, their lack of opportunities. Hard people take full responsibility for their results. They understand that excuses are just stories we tell ourselves to feel better about not taking action. Listen to your own language for the next week. How often do you say things like, "I can't because," or "if only I had," or "it's not my fault that"? Every excuse you make is evidence of mental softness. The fifth area is your response to failure. Soft people see failure as proof that they're not capable. They quit at the first sign of difficulty and tell themselves they're not cut out for success. Hard people see failure as feedback. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success, it's a stepping stone to success. Here's a simple test. Think about the last time you failed at something important. Did you analyze what went wrong and try again? Or did you quit and move on to something easier? Your answer reveals everything about your mental toughness. The truth is, we all have soft spots. The difference between successful people and everyone else is that successful people identify their soft spots and work to strengthen them. They don't pretend they're perfect. They don't avoid their weaknesses. They face them head on and do the work necessary to improve. Right now, make a list of your top 3 soft spots. Write them down. Be specific. Be honest. Because you cannot begin to harden up until you know exactly where you're soft. Now comes the moment of truth. You've identified your soft spots and you understand the science behind mental toughness. But knowledge without action is worthless. It's time to start building the mental strength that will transform your life forever. The hardening process begins with one simple principle. You must deliberately choose discomfort every single day. This isn't about torturing yourself or making your life miserable. It's about systematically exposing yourself to controlled challenges that build your resilience muscles. Start with what I call the daily discomfort challenge. Every morning, identify one thing you don't want to do but know you should do. It might be making that difficult phone call, having that uncomfortable conversation, or tackling that project you've been avoiding. Then do it first, before you do anything else. This trains your brain to associate challenge with victory instead of avoidance. Physical discomfort is the fastest way to build mental toughness. Take cold showers for 30 seconds every morning when your body screams at you to turn up the heat. And you don't. You're training your mind to push through discomfort. This transfers to every other area of your life. If you can handle cold water hitting your body, you can handle a difficult conversation with your boss. Create what I call failure goals. These are goals specifically designed to make you fail so you can practice getting back up. Apply for jobs you think you're not qualified for. Ask for opportunities you think you won't get. Propose ideas you think might be rejected. The goal isn't to succeed, it's to build your tolerance for rejection and failure. Here's a powerful exercise. Do something every day that scares you slightly. Not terrifying, life-threatening fear, but the kind of fear that makes you want to avoid it. Call someone you've been meaning to contact. Speak up in a meeting. Ask for what you want instead of hoping someone will offer it. Each small act of courage builds your confidence bank account. Learn to argue with your own excuses. When your mind says, I can't do this, immediately respond with, how can I do this? When you catch yourself saying, I don't have time, ask, what am I spending time on that's less important than this? When you think, I'm not ready, remind yourself, nobody ever feels ready. The most important habit you can develop is keeping your word to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and then don't do it. You're training yourself to be unreliable. Every time you keep a commitment to yourself, even a small one, you're building unshakable self-confidence. Set up your environment to force growth. Remove the easy options. If you want to stop wasting time on social media, delete the apps from your phone. If you want to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in your house. If you want to exercise more, lay out your workout clothes the night before. Make the hard choices easier and the easy choices harder. Practice the 5-second rule developed by Mel Robbins. When you need to do something difficult, count backward from 5 to 1, then move immediately. This interrupts the pattern of overthinking and hesitation that keeps you soft. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Most importantly, change your relationship with setbacks. Instead of seeing them as evidence that you're not cut out for success, see them as proof that you're pushing yourself hard enough to grow. Champions don't avoid setbacks. They use them as stepping stones to greatness. Remember, mental toughness is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's not about never falling down. It's about getting back up faster each time. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about taking action despite the fear. The hardening process is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. Every day you choose challenge over comfort. You become stronger. Every day you push through when you want to quit. You build character. Every day you do what you said you would do. You become more trustworthy to yourself and others. 6 months from now, you will be a completely different person. The weak, excuse-making, comfort-seeking version of yourself will be nothing but a memory. But only if you commit to living the hardened life every single day from this moment forward. Let me tell you about David, a man who attended one of my seminars 5 years ago. David was 42 years old, 20 pounds overweight, stuck in a job he hated, and married to a woman who had lost all respect for him. He was the definition of soft. He avoided confrontation, made excuses for everything, and spent his evenings watching television instead of working on his dreams. David's wake-up call came when his 8-year-old daughter asked him why he was always sad. That question hit him like a punch to the gut. He realized that his softness wasn't just hurting him, it was affecting everyone around him. His lack of mental toughness was teaching his daughter that it was okay to give up, to settle, to accept mediocrity. That night, David made a decision that changed everything. He decided to stop being soft and start getting hard. He began with small changes. He started taking cold showers every morning. He began saying no to things that didn't serve his goals. He started having difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. He began keeping every promise he made to himself, no matter how small. The changes weren't immediate, but they were consistent. Within 3 months, David had lost 15 pounds. Within 6 months, he had asked for and received a promotion at work. Within a year, he had started his own consulting business. Within 2 years, he was earning more money than he ever thought possible. But the most important change wasn't in his bank account or his waistline. It was in how he carried himself. David developed what I call quiet confidence, the unshakable belief that he could handle whatever life threw at him. He stopped worrying about things he couldn't control and started focusing completely on things he could influence. His wife noticed the change immediately. She saw a man who was no longer afraid to lead, no longer afraid to make decisions, no longer afraid to take risks. Their marriage transformed from stale and comfortable to exciting and passionate. His daughter began looking up to him with pride instead of pity. Today, David owns 3 successful businesses, has run 2 marathons, and has become a mentor to dozens of other men who were once as soft as he was. When I asked him what the biggest change was, he said something profound. I stopped being a victim of my circumstances and started being the architect of my life. This is what living the hardened life looks like. You become someone who others look to for strength and guidance. You become the person who stays calm when others panic. You become the one who finds solutions when others find excuses. You become the leader your family, your friends, and your community need. But maintaining this level of mental toughness requires constant vigilance. Your old soft habits will try to creep back in. Your primitive brain will constantly tempt you to choose comfort over growth. This is why you must create systems that keep you sharp. Schedule regular challenges into your calendar. Once a month, do something that scares you. Once a quarter, take on a project that pushes your limits. Once a year, commit to something that requires you to grow significantly. These aren't just activities. They're investments in your future strength. Surround yourself with other hard people. Soft people will try to pull you back down to their level. They'll tell you that your standards are too high, that you're being too hard on yourself, that you should relax and enjoy life. Don't listen to them. Find people who challenge you to be better, who hold you accountable, who celebrate your growth instead of your comfort. Remember, you have a responsibility that goes beyond yourself. Every person in your life is watching how you handle challenges. Your children, your spouse, your friends, your colleagues. They're all learning from your example. When you choose strength over weakness, you give them permission to do the same. When you push through, when you want to quit, you show them what's possible. The hardened life isn't about being harsh or uncaring. It's about being strong enough to care deeply while still taking action. It's about being tough enough to handle the truth while still being kind to others. It's about being resilient enough to bounce back from setbacks while still maintaining your compassion. Your transformation starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, the person you're meant to become is waiting for you to stop being soft and start getting hard. The life you're meant to live is waiting for you to develop the mental toughness to claim it. Stop being soft. Harden up. Your future self is counting on you.